Hey everyone, it's time for Good Week Israel, where we'll give you ILTV's latest positive highlights. Get ready to smile because coming up, a new study may be eliminating the need for chemotherapy for early phases of breast cancer. We go to explore the Muslim quarter in Jerusalem, and Israeli snacks are introduced to foreign soldiers. So, yalla, let's start. Now, this is unbelievable. Women who discover that they have breast cancer in an early phase may now be able to avoid going through chemotherapy. And it's all thanks to an Israeli study that has been a decade in the making. ILTV's Nittany Manson has the scoop.
Imagine being able to cure cancer without chemotherapy. This may seem like a far-off dream for patients battling breast cancer, but a new Israeli study says that that's not the case. For the last 10 years, senior oncologists throughout the country have been tracking over 1,300 Israeli females with the disease, and their study reveals that women who discover they have breast cancer in an early phase can possibly avoid chemo. Every woman in the study went through an Oncotype DX, where they were given a grade number of between 1 and 100 to mark the risk level of their breast cancer returning. Those with grades of 25 and lower were advised to forego chemotherapy, and almost 100% of them never had the disease return. This is a huge development in the field because chemotherapy can have long-lasting health ramifications. Breast cancer is the most common cancer in women worldwide, and in the United States alone, 1 in 8 women will develop the disease over the course of her lifetime. Until now, chemotherapy has been a leading treatment, but the side effects can be brutal, from hair loss to nausea and vomiting to fatigue and infection. This new study may hopefully now help more women avoid going through this treatment if it isn't necessary, and today most patients can detect breast cancer in its earlier stages.
In Israel alone, 1 in 3 women are sexually assaulted during their lifetime and 1 in 7 are raped. An alarmingly high number of women don't speak out against their attacker, and now one Israeli woman named Yudit Sidikman is attempting to change that through the nonprofit organization ILTV. I got the chance to meet her.
I was sexually assaulted by the cantor of my temple, and I didn't call it sexual assault until I was the mother of a 12-year-old, because I thought we had a romance. Like, we were together for 6 years, from when I was 12. He stole my childhood. One afternoon I went from 12 to 20, and I didn't have the tools to be a 20-year-old. No! Keep going. Don't touch me. No! The simple line is, we teach women to yell clearly, back off now, so that one day they'll be comfortable going, hey, guess what? I don't like the way this conversation is going. I'm leaving now. If I really, 2 hands, you're really scared.
No way.
Why?
That wouldn't work. You could blow in somebody's face and have them like...
Absolutely. What happened when I blew in your face?
I moved away, yes.
And you shut your eyes. Would I do this with that big, scary...
That's what I'm saying.
But I would do it with a drunk friend at a party. Yeah. There are 5 principles or 5 fingers of self-defense: think, yell, run, fight, tell. Empowerment self-defense covers all of those, and tell is no less important than fight or run or think. When you tell a story of what happened to you, and the response is, well, why did you go there? Why didn't you leave when your friends left? The goal is to build communities who understand what it is to be supportive of the stories. If I'm scared, what's going to happen next? I set a verbal boundary, and they're now going to get upset because I had the audacity to have feelings and wants and needs and state them, and they start now whacking on me or getting physical, and I don't know what to do. I may not take that step.
How do you not freeze? Like that, how do you have the nerve to do something like that?
Do you swim?
So much bigger.
Do you swim?
Yeah.
If I blindfolded you, spun you around 10 times, and threw you in the water, and you didn't know there was water there, would you drown?
No.
Why wouldn't you freeze?
I just wouldn't in the water.
No. And our option for this, now, a different level, is no!
That was so unexpected. Wow.
But that practicing of it's mine What am I getting them to do?
Kind of take control of themselves.
Own their bodies.
Right.
My body, my right to decide what happens to it.
No, but I just want to say hi to you.
So
It's
do
okay,
I.
but
That's
like-
okay. Return to sender.
Wow.
Just give the body part back.
Yeah.
Just keep giving the
Like,
body
no,
part
thank
back.
you, thanks so much,
Right.
but no. Okay.
Yeah, give them their arms back. You wouldn't be able to push me.
No.
Push me.
No.
Push me.
I don't want to
Push me.
I don't want to
Push me.
I don't want to.
Okay. Now grab me.
No.
Oh, see, it was easier that time.
But that was interesting because the second you grabbed my arm, I was like, no. Like, that felt more, almost like more comfortable. I felt like okay to say no that time.
Because you've practiced it.
So thank you so much.
My pleasure.
And yeah.
And don't forget to register for a course on your way.
Oh yes, definitely. That's what I need. You can tell I kind of need it a little bit.
There is a massive plastic ball on the beach in Tel Aviv, and that's because it's made out of plastic that's been collected on Israeli beaches. And a new video has just been released about the process. Take a look.
ובעצם הכדור הזה הוא בגובה של יותר מ3 מטר גובה, וכשאנחנו עומדים עליו אנחנו מסתכלים עליו קצת מעיניים של ילד. אז פתאום קורה איזשהו היפוך שבמקום שאנחנו שולטים בכדור, הכדור פתאום שולט בנו, הוא ענק מאיתנו, הרבה יותר גדול מאיתנו, ובעצם כל הפסולת הזאת, כל מה שמרפד אותו ומכסה אותו, זה האיום על הקיום שלנו, המשך הקיום שלנו. ומי שאחראי לכל הדבר הזה זה אנחנו. בהיבט האישי הוא היה הפרויקט הכי משמעותי שיצרתי עד היום. כולו מפסולת, פסולת חופים, צעצועי פלסטיק. הוא שינה לי את החיים, הוא שינה לי את הבחירות שלי, הוא שינה את ההבנה, הוא שינה את הבית שלנו. הוא גרם לי לקחת אחריות.
For people struggling with physical and mental disabilities, it's not always easy to get a job. An incredible Israeli organization called Kelev Tov is helping tackle this issue with dogs. And Natasha Care went out to meet one of the wonderful women whose lives has been changed because of it.
Yeah, I had friends, I had a job. I was a lifeguard in the army too. I was like my brother, an exercise teacher. I've been sick for 20 years. I have a mental state called schizophrenia. I've been to hospitals all my life, and only now I have found a job that helps me, and I'm proud of myself.
Nili Grossman is on the way to her weekly meeting with Kelev Tov, an organization that helps train Israelis with physical and mental disabilities to work with dogs.
The work gives me a purpose to wake up in the morning and wash my face and say, I'm alive, I'm going to work now. I walk for an hour a day with dogs.
What did you do before you started walking dogs?
That's the thing, I was hospitalized. I never had a job before. I have difficulty with boundaries. Sometimes I don't know how to behave properly.
You know, Nili, I think my favorite thing about you is that you always tell it as it is.
Yeah, exactly. I never have secrets.
Do I look pretty today?
Yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah, you put on makeup?
Yeah. You say that's why. The videographer need to get a haircut?
No. I try to hold myself. I try to behave well. I try to behave normally. I want to be treated with respect. I want to be treated as a human being. Chief.
דיברנו על מצב שפשוט כלב נתקע בטיול ואין לנו דרך להזיז אותו.
Kelev Tov works with businesses and private people to help pair the organization's participants with dogs that they can walk.
I like Kelev Tov because it's a home. It's a place to meet people. It's a place to take care of dogs. It's a place to get paid. I get a salary.
מה קורה שהאדמה נרטבת?
אדמה רטובה? יש מה קשור משהו? Today we learned, I don't know, גיא, מה למדנו היום? שהכלב תקוע, מה עושים? So you give him snacks. We're going to Microsoft at 11:30. Each person gets its own dog, and I get the smallest one. It's easier to take care of. I try to do my hair the right way. I try to look presentable. I try to...
You want to grab my hand? So you can...
I like the way you hold me.
Yeah?
It makes me feel good.
Yeah? Okay.
Usually people, Israelis are very loving and caring.
Well, careful.
That's why I like Israeli people, because we have a lot of, how do you say, compassion?
Yeah.
שלום, נתנאל, היא עובדת פה? הוא עובד פה, אתה רוצה להופיע בטלוויזיה?
זה אחת האנשים הכי טובים שפגשתי.
תודה רבה. בעוד שעה, בשעה 1, תבוא לאסוף אותה. בואי פיקה, מה קורה לך היום? It's because of this. Take a picture of me doing this. זה אחד הדברים שהכי משמחים אותי.
Why?
Because I'm happy they released themselves. תציג. עצרי, שבי. בוא, אני ראשונה פיקה. Basically, humans, when I meet humans, they judge me. Dogs don't.
So no surprise, yet another Israeli startup is making headlines as it announces a massive multi-billion-dollar exit. Take a look.
Major news in the Israeli startup world. The U.S. tech giant Intel has just acquired an Israeli startup for $2 billion, the company's second largest acquisition in Israel. So which Israeli startup has made the big bucks? Well, it's the Caesarea-based chip maker Habana Labs. Habana Labs makes processors and chips using artificial intelligence and outsources their manufacturing. Using AI helps improve the processing performance of chips and lowers their costs and power consumption. And the processors are used to train deep neural networks. The Israeli startup has also raised $120 million to date and has offices in Tel Aviv, California, Beijing, and Poland with 150 employees. Even though Habana Labs has now also been acquired by Intel, though, the firm will still continue to operate independently and keep its local offices open. This isn't the first big deal that Intel has made in Israel either. In 2017, Intel acquired Mobileye, an Israeli company that makes autonomous car technologies. The acquisition was the biggest in Israeli history.
Jerusalem is home to the three monotheistic religions, Judaism, Christianity, and Islam. And each religion has its own sector in the Old City of the Israeli capital. Now, the Old City may just be 1 square kilometer, but it is home to some of the most important religious sites in the world. I went to Jerusalem to explore all 4 quarters, but first up, the Muslim one. Traditionally, the Old City of Jerusalem has been divided into 4 quarters: the Jewish, the Muslim, the Christian, and the Armenian quarter. The Muslim quarter is actually the largest and most populated of the 4 quarters. The Muslim quarter is most famous for its Arab market, its direct access to the Dome of the Rock, and its famous Damascus Gate, which was built in 1537 by Suleiman the Magnificent, the Sultan of the Ottoman Empire.
We're going to the Arab Shuk, to the Arab market. It's going to be a bit hectic.
Yes, I've heard and I've seen, so let's get going.
Let's go. People live here in the Old City. It's 1 square kilometer, and it's kind of surprising to learn that 47,000 people live inside the Old City.
The Dome of the Rock, or the Al-Aqsa Mosque, is sacred to both Muslims and Jews. According to Muslims, the Prophet Muhammad is believed to have ascended into heaven from the site. And for the Jews, this is where both ancient Jewish temples stood.
There's only one gate that is allowing non-Muslims to go in certain time. The gate behind us is actually a gate that only Muslims can go through.
And so what we're seeing right behind us is actually part of the Western Wall.
This is the Western Wall. It's half a kilometer and it's long and it goes into the Muslim quarter. There is a small section in the middle of the Muslim quarter that people can visit. Not everyone knows that it's a part of the wall. You can pray there together, men and women. And this wall behind us is the west wall of Temple Ground. And this wall is as close as a Jew can get to that rock under the Golden Dome.
The Muslim Quarter is also home to a large number of important Christian sites.
We're walking through the Via della Rosa right now, right?
We are walking now on one of the market street, which is a part of the Via della Rosa.
Jesus is believed to have walked through the Via della Rosa on his way to his crucifixion, and stations of the cross are located in the Muslim Quarter.
We're getting close to one of the stations of the cross. We can just see station number 7, for example, of the Via della Rosa. Jesus fell with the cross for the second time in this station. Station number 3, the place where Jesus was falling for the first time. Station number 4, the place where Jesus' mother, Mary, met him, cried, and walked with him a bit towards his death.
Nice to meet you.
Your name Iman?
Emmanuel.
Iman.
Iman. Okay.
You're
We're gonna go with that. That's my Arabic name now. Do I have a big head?
No, that's good.
So make sure to tune in next week to see which of the 4 quarters I explore next. Israeli-American basketball coach David Blatt is joining the New York Knicks. And no, he is not going to be coaching this time around. Instead, he's going to be a basketball consultant. And although this is exciting news for some fans, Blatt has also announced that he is officially retiring from coaching.
David Blatt has had a lengthy career coaching the Cleveland Cavaliers from 2014 to 2016 and even leading the team to the 2015 finals. And since June of 2018, he's been coaching the Greek team Olympiakos, but back in April, he received chilling news. The star coach was diagnosed with multiple sclerosis, a condition that attacks the central nervous system and has been causing Blatt fatigue, weakness in his legs, and balancing problems. Well, it looks like the Israeli-American coach is still excited about his new gig. After being hired as a basketball operations consultant, Blatt took to social media to say that he has long been intrigued by working in a front office. It's not clear what exactly he'll be doing, though. Given his proximity to the team's current power structure, this could be an audition for the head coaching job in New York, even though he's supposedly retiring. Or it's possible that he's simply being brought in to help rebuild the Knicks. For now, though, the team is playing fairly well and just scored 143 points in a blowout win over the Atlanta Hawks.
Some foreign soldiers got a taste of some of the Israeli classic snacks, and the IDF filmed their reactions. Take a look at this clip.
There's a baby playing soccer on this one.
Looks kind of like a Cheeto. What baby?
It feels soft.
Bamba.
It could use a little more peanut butter. Yeah, pretty good. This is fine. I'm just gonna go all in here.
You ready?
Cheers.
Dink. Wow. There's a lot of marshmallow.
It's super delicious.
Really? Really? Oh no!
I can get sick off these.
And you will. You're gonna go to the store and get some more.
Just telling from the outside, it's probably something with vanilla in it.
It smells interesting.
Shall we try it?
I love anything sesame covered.
That's really the stuff that we usually don't get in Germany. Crumbly, but good.
Oh, smell it. They're smaller than I thought.
Try a couple. So let me say, I do prefer real falafel.
This is number 1 for me.
That's what I was thinking too.
Absolutely.
Thank you very much. And we'll queue up.
I love Israel.
A new archaeological discovery may be a chilling reminder that we have something to learn from ancient mankind. The oldest seawall in history has been discovered near Haifa, and the 9,000-year-old finding reveals some of the scary threats that locals were dealing with. ILTV's Nittany Manson reports.
Storms, hurricanes, tsunamis. It's hard to control nature, and as modern sea levels rise more and more every year, the world is experiencing coastal erosion that has the potential to displace millions of people. Now, a 9,000-year-old seawall has just been discovered off the coast of Haifa, suggesting that people during the Neolithic period were also trying to protect themselves from the same kind of natural disasters. The ancient seawall is located at the underwater archaeological site of Tel Aviv, which is a Neolithic settlement that thrived from around 7,500 to 7,000 BCE. Apparently, the wall was built to stave off ever-rising seawater from melting glaciers. It's the oldest known coastal defense system in the world. Residents built it by carrying massive boulders from riverbeds near their village, boulders weighing between 200 and 1,000 kilograms each. Sadly, the extreme measure to protect the Neolithic village didn't pay off, and locals were forced to abandon their homes. Apparently, during the Neolithic era, people living near the Mediterranean experienced a sea level rise of around 70 centimeters in 100 years, something not too far off from what humans today are experiencing. And with seaside properties still very much in demand around the world, we may need to think twice about how we're protecting ourselves. This 9,000-year-old Neolithic seawall may not have worked out, but at least it has lasted.
Do you have a rubber band handy? Well, then you might just be able to save the world, or at least that's what an Israeli inventor is now saying, and you won't want to miss the details on how.
More than 480 billion plastic bottles are estimated to be produced annually, but only 14% of the world's plastic bottles actually get recycled. Well, one French-Israeli entrepreneur, Maurice Amsalem, is now looking to respond to this crisis by patenting his rubber band solution called bakbuk, or bottle in Hebrew. Bakbuk is a product of the company Eco-AMS Planet, and it encourages people to recycle their standard plastic bottles in 14 different countries by taking a biodegradable rubber band and strapping it around the neck of the bottle, thereby holding the bottle in a collapsed position. Folding up the empty bottle reduces the volume of the plastic by 80%, ideally helping people save space at home and reduce the number of trips to the deposit waste center. And hopefully, if a person has less materials to recycle, the trip to the bin won't be a frequent or daunting chore either. Then, while many might still be questioning the benefits of bakbuk, bottling companies like the idea because it promotes sustainable development, which many companies need to comply with for regulation purposes. And finally, Eco-AMS Planet is currently discussing the possibility of shipping out bottles with the bands attached to them already in order to make the move even easier for consumers.
That's all for today's Good Week Israel. Hope we've helped you start your week off with a smile. I'm Emmanuel Kadosh. See you next time.